Hi guys. It's a really weird way to intro. Okay, so let's talk about what happened. A lot has happened since I last posted on this channel. I have my list, my paper list here of stuff for the car. Yeah, so welcome back to the series. I think this is on episode 5 now. And a lot has happened since I last recorded. First of all, let's start off with when we got the car here, we did the oil change, the spark plugs, and the distributor. We did all that. But there's more to be done. The tow truck driver, which no offense to him, but when he put the car in, it was facing out towards the street, which is fine, but we wanted to rotate it so that we can work on the car like right here. Now the car is literally right here. The car was running, but then it would just sputter out. That was the issue we were running into. I found out this weird way of doing things, and I wish I'd recorded it, but I didn't. We took our extension cables, and I just put extension cables on top of extension cables, plugged it into an outlet, and then took one of my, give me one sec. We basically took one of these, which is a jump pack. We actually took one of these and plugged it in, because it has like a little like household outlet to it. We plugged it in to the wall and ran a bunch of extension cables, and it got the car running. I got the car in gear and drove it out, rotated around. I was like, my leg was shaking because I was like, my foot was on the clutch and it was shaking over there. We got it rotated around and drove it back up here. We had to push it the rest of the way because the car was actually smoking, which is not good at all. Must have burned the clutch or something in the car. That's happened second time now, which it's not very good, but it's also a German car, so it's weird. Anyhow, we pushed it back up, and then I couldn't get the car really started since then. Shortly after, winter, Christmas, all that stuff happens. In January, we had that giant historical storm, snowstorm, which I think, did we hit like, was it 4 feet or something like that of snow? This car was basically in the garage for the whole time. It would have not started. I would just say it probably would have died if it wasn't in the garage. The car, we had like negative, I think the lowest I saw was -8 degrees over that week, that 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, I was just like, well, the car can't work there because it was cold outside and it was just miserable. We couldn't really get work on the car. Then comes fairly recently when I was able to get down here and have time to work on the car, and the car wouldn't start. It just wouldn't start. I ended up trying to look into the starter because that's usually the root of the issue. Sometimes so you got to go back to the beginning. I tried to rip out the starter, and I basically forgot to take a photo. I mean, I took a photo of it, but it's not the photo I wanted to. I tried to rip all the parts off, and some things would have come, and then I ended up stripping a bolt. Whole mess. And then I left that sat for a bit, and then had to come back again to basically fix that. My friend Phill and I basically came in and we started to do some work on the car because I told him about it and he was super interested about it. So we did some work on the car trying to figure out how to get it started. We thought it was the starter. Apparently it wasn't. We thought it was the ignition coil. It apparently wasn't. We started looking into that. We ended up taking off the battery and then like doing some weird, like he had to rewire my fuel pump switch. We'd use the battery in a different car and plug it into the poles and see if that would work, and that didn't do anything. So for a while, we literally couldn't figure out how to get this started. We just ended up and be like, okay, we can't figure it out. We might have to get something like a new starter or something, which if we got a new starter and a new ignition coil would have run me about $145. So we ended up basically just leaving it like that. I ended up just working on it when I had free time, so I came down here and worked on the car for a bit, and I'll put up some clips right now of me working on some of the attempts of the car until I actually eventually got it started. Check this out. Alright, so I moved some of the wires. We'll see if I did some stuff. So I went ahead and moved, leave the light down there. So as y'all probably could kind of see, this wire, I connected it to a bolt down there, and then there's also a wire way down there, that little red one right there. I connected that, and then I disconnected that to get that down there so it's managed well. So we are gonna see if we have any spark. I don't know who I'm sending the video to, but we are gonna go check and see if we have any spark. So yeah, let's see here. So we're checking this cable right here to see if it has any spark. So got it attached to the engine block, so you should clearly be able to see if it has spark. Hopefully it doesn't fire up. I have to go grab my keys. I'll be right back. Okay, I got my keys. So we are ready for testing and see if it can do a spark. I probably need to bring the car down. 1 second. There we go. Okay, car is down. You might need to skip ahead, but testing if we have spark. Here we go. Clock is working, which means we do have power. Pump is going on. Doesn't sound very good. Okay, clutch in, ignition. Try again. Okay. We might have a voltage thing. So, time to check voltage. Okay, we're gonna do a fire up test. See if I can fire it up. I put the spark plug back in. We just checked the footage and it said I have a spark plug. Or I sparked. Cranking. So, it's very small. I might have to cut that out, but it looks like I have spark, which means I can do it. So, let's try firing it up. Or maybe cranking. We'll see what happens. Of course, I gotta grab my keys. Okay. Pump coming on. That doesn't sound good. Alright, try cranking. Nothing. Okay, maybe a voltage. Maybe we need more battery. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and charge the battery. Okay, attempt number 2 of trying to start it with the spark plug in. I charged the battery up to 12 volts, so I have the right voltage, so we're gonna give it a try. Okay, pump on. Sounds good. Ignition. Cranking. Third time. Let the pump flow for a bit. Ignition. Cranking. Cranking again. Okay, we got nothing. What does that mean? Well, we have spark, I think. So the starter is fine. But I think there's something back here that's not fine. Geez, I might have to rip it out or look into it and see if it's okay. So yeah, that's not very good. Okay, attempt number 3. This time I've removed the ignition or the ignition coil. See if there's any issues on it. There were no issues on it. I don't think there were. Only one issue on my part was I dropped a little washer. I have no idea where it went. It was literally the size of the tip of a pencil. Very small. So I don't know where it went, which means spacing could be an issue. So hopefully that doesn't cause any issues. Anyhow, I'm charging the battery because the battery was down voltage. It looked like there was a connection point that was not quite connected, or not fully connected, or not even connected. It's in the ignition coil thing, so I don't know if that's actually doing something where it shut out. Now, when I drove this car last, it started smoking from down about here area, like down here. It's kind of hard, but right about there. And so I don't know if there's something that's causing that. That's basically where the starter is, but a little bit further back. So I don't know if something's over there is causing it, but it might be burnt oil. But anyways, I got the thing charging. So we're going to test the voltage real quick. Let's see if this is the issue. We're at 13.23 volts. So we're going to try to fire her up. See if that works. It is certainly something electrical. I don't know, it's like a really bad angle, but it's certainly something electrical. So we're gonna start firing it up. See if that works. Okay, pump on. Sounds good. Clock is working. Battery's working. Cranking. Time. Okay. Some sort of whirring noise now. Okay. It was pumping earlier. It was literally doing this earlier. It was, you could hear it, you could feel the engine like wanting to start, and then it wouldn't start. Darn it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we couldn't get the car started today. Smash like. All right, this is day 2. First attempt at trying to fire this thing up. I found out today that there were, first of all, the other day I found out that there were 2 wires that are not connected to anything. One of them, there's actually technically 3, but one of them is not connected, and it's because that's the horn. So yeah, I mean, that's not really that important, so I don't need to worry about that. I don't even use the horn. But anyways, today I found out that one of the wires wasn't fully connected. When I moved the battery around to get charging, the wire was not even connected. So, which is really weird. So I had to basically redo the whole entire negative terminal, I guess, the little input thing to put on the pole. I had to redo all that. So now it looks like everything's connected to the terminal, to the pole, everything should be connected. And then when I went to go charge it, my jump pack died, my other one. So I had to spend another $70 on another jump pack, which is right here. But right now it is charging. I just checked it and the voltage is correct. We are gonna see this fires up. I've had it like sputter and like kind of like try to start up and kick the engine. I just need to start so that it can start charging. So we're gonna try to fire it up and see if it works. All right, pump coming on. Sounds good. All right, here we go. Flush in. Cranky. Go again. It's wanting to start. Different noises. The tack is going up. Nothing. But I got some weird, different noises when I turned on to the power mode, which is very odd. Something went up. Let's see what happened. Okay, day number 3 of trying to start my car on its first attempt. So, I was suggested to leave the battery pack charging overnight, and so it can get fully charged. And as you can see, it is fully charged, and it's maintaining. So, which means I'm gonna go ahead and try to crank this while the pack is on, just so that it has some battery still. But we are gonna go ahead and try to crank this and see if there's any results. So let's see what happens. All right. Starting off with the pump. Sounds good. Push in. Yes! 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 Oh my god! No shot. It's cold. It's a cold start. But yes. Yes. So we did get started. And apparently it was just a battery issue, which was the whole thing. You just need more charge. I hate how it was the simplest of issues, or simplest of solutions and issues, I guess you could say. But there is a battery cutoff thing in there, so it would keep the battery charged, but it's not really doing that. I still have to charge it with the jump pack here, so that's unfortunate. But I was able to get it on the road. Well, not main roads, but since it's not really quite registered yet. But I was able to get it on the basically in the neighborhood roads, so that I can just get better at driving the car before I go and take it to the DMV to get its outside VIN inspection. So I was able to drive the car, but there was also a new issue that occurred. Now this is, I guess, the downside of owning a 40-year-old German car. It's weird, it's quirky, and it can have some weird issues. So here's the weird issue. I was driving it like normal one day, and I basically was driving it, and I stalled it. Okay, when you stall a car, you take off the key, and then you put it back in and turn on the car again. Just like it looks like a car that just died out and then just put it back in. You just restart the car, basically turn it on. I stalled it out, but the car wouldn't start. This happened like a little bit down in the neighborhood, so the car would not start. It just sat there in the middle of an intersection, just dead. I tried to crank it, I was like it was some sort of electrical thing, just wouldn't turn over at all. So luckily this neighborhood is not really that has much foot traffic, so it's good. But I basically had to put the car in neutral, put the emergency brake off, and push the car. Luckily the car is so light that I was able to do that. I was able to just push the car. And I was trying to expand my parameters, and I probably shouldn't have. I probably should have stayed around where I was, which I'm going to be doing. But anyhow, I basically got the car stuck and I had to push it out of the way, and it was just parked illegally. I mean, yes, it was illegally because it was a fire lane. I called Colton, which was the guy who helped me with the oil change and spark plugs and the distributor, all that stuff. And he was saying that it could be something electrical, which I was like, please don't be electrical. I walked all the way back to my garage this garage and grabbed basically a gas tank and a screwdriver. The screwdriver is for the lid in the gas tank, so it's like a siphon gas protection thing, which was kind of common back then, and I think cars still have that today. So I had to basically just put the screwdriver in and try to fill up gas. It was not a gas issue. And then we tried to jump start it, or I think it's called push starting or whatever it's called, where you put the car in neutral with the key turned on, and then you take off the parking brake, you have to push the car, and then get in the car, slam your foot on the clutch, turn to the first gear, and then basically try to charge the alternator so it can charge the battery. I guess I didn't do it well because where I was parked was on a hill, so I wasn't able to get enough speed. I ran out of exhaustion. I was able to push the car up on the hill, and this family was basically in the cul-de-sac. They came back from, I think, groceries or something, and the mom came up to me and said, "Hey, do you need help starting your car?" And I was like out of breath. I'm like, "Yes, if you can, that'd be great, thank you." And so they were able to jump my car. Very grateful. If you're watching this video, that family, I don't know your guys' names, I'm so sorry. Thank you for jumping my car. I'm very grateful. So thank you guys so much. Anyhow, I was able to drive it back. I just drove it straight back to the garage, and trying to figure out what that issue was. Then I was like, all right, well, I gotta get started again so that it can just keep running. And now at this point, for some weird reason, I have to jump the car in order to get the car started. The battery cutoff isn't holding the charge anymore. Isn't really cutting off the battery. I mean, it is cutting off the battery, but for some reason, it still needs to be juiced up. So that's weird. Drove around the neighborhood and I stalled it again, and the car wouldn't start again. So, but this time it was down in the little closer, definitely closer. It was getting dark. I had some time, and I pushed it all the way back to here. At least get it a little bit up on the driveway. Ran some jumper cables to it, jumped the car, and then drove it back up into the garage. So yeah, now that's an issue. So right now the issue is, the car is, when I stall the car, the battery is not holding a charge and it's just killing the battery. So, how are we going to fix this issue? Or what is the solution? I don't know. I don't know the issue. I don't know the solution. I'm suspecting it's the alternator, and that is a ridiculously easy fix, and the part is really affordable. So I'm hoping it's the alternator. So yeah, the next step is to replace the alternator. But yeah, there is a little bit of an update on the car. Hopefully the next video I will officially get this car registered and on the road so I can drive it to Cars and Coffees and stuff like that. But for now, I gotta figure out the alternator issues so that it can get running on the road and we can do some fun stuff with the car. So if you are still interested in watching my crazy ideas for this car, please consider subscribing. Comment down below, what do you think I should do to the car? I've got a lot of ideas. I've thought of painting it like a Volkswagen Harlequin, which is a very cool Golf that came out in the early 2000s and 90s, I think the 90s actually, or making it into a GTI Cabriolet with actual Gen 2 GTI parts in it. I've thought about making it. One time I had a crazy idea with making it into a rally vehicle. I don't think I'm gonna do that, but let me know what ideas you have or what suggestions would help me to fix the car. If anybody knows anything about these cars, that would be greatly appreciated. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in a later video.